Okay, so now I want to take a look at another movie that is opening on Boxing Day in Australia. And this one's a little bit strange because this film has come out in most territories around the world already this year. So we've already kind of got to look at how good this film is because it's been nominated for a bunch of awards already, including the Golden Globe Award for Best Animated Feature Film. This, of course, is the latest movie from Disney called Wish. And there's a lot of people out there very, very excited about this film because it is co-directed by Chris Buck, who, of course, has brought us Frozen and some amazing Disney films over the years. And his co-director is Fawn Versathon, who has also worked on a bunch of movies over the years in the art department and has now stepped up to that director's kind of spot for this film as well. Now, this film is an interesting film because I feel that this film goes back to Disney recreating that magic that a lot of us grew up with over the years. Of course, this is Disney's 100th year in filmmaking, and it feels right that they should make a movie during this amazing celebration that kind of embraces the films that what made Disney so special when people my age was a kid. Because, of course, people my age like to take their children along to the cinema. And yeah, it's interesting that this film comes out at this time. Now, it's all set on this very, very special island called Roses, which was set up by a magician wizard Magnifico, voiced by Chris Pine, and also his wife Amaya, voiced by Angelique Cabrel. And they've kind of set up this island as virtually a kind of paradise. There's no crime or anything like that. Everybody seems very, very happy. And they all live with this hope that on their 18th birthday, I think it is, they give a wish to the king. And one day he may choose to grant that. But they also forget that wish at the time as well. Now, we see this story through the eyes of 17-year-old Asha, played by Ariana DeBose, or voiced by Ariana DeBose, I should say. And she goes for a job with Magnifico to work as his apprentice on the day of her grandfather, Sabino, voiced by Victor Garber's 100th birthday. Now, the interview seems like it's going fine. It looks like she's a shoo-in for this new position of apprentice. But suddenly, it all goes wrong when she asks Magnifico if he could actually grant Sabino's wish. So he looks at the wish and says, no, I'm not going to grant that because it could be too dangerous. Now, knowing her grandfather, Asha thinks, well, that's kind of strange. My grandfather would never have come up with a wish that was dangerous to people or anything like that. So she finds out what the wish was and realizes that Magnifico kind of picks and chooses the wishes that he grants, and it's not always fair. Now, when she brings this up with him, he suddenly threatens her with the threat that she's not going to be his apprentice and that he's never going to grant any of her family members' wishes as a result of it. Now she knows the truth about him. She's not sure what to do. She's not sure whether to tell her friends or anything like that. And she ends up making her own wish on a star. Now that star suddenly comes to life, I should say, and this magnificent ball of light just completely surrounds the island. So everybody knows that something has gone on. Suddenly, forest animals and Asha's pet goat, Valentino, are talking to her. But this just infuriates Magnifico even more. Seeing this ball of light, he realizes that there is now someone else magical on this island, and it soon turns into a battle of good versus evil between Asha and Magnifico. Now, this is just one of those movies, like I said, it recaptures that old school Disney magic. Of course, people have been criticizing Disney over the last few years for the subject matter of some of their films and and some of the more controversial kind of political spins that they've put into their films. So it feels good to go back and watch a movie like this that just reminds us of how fun a Disney film can be. Now, I have some theories about this film. I have a theory that this film is a prequel and launches two very, very famous Disney characters going on the ending of this film. I might be completely wrong. This was one of those things where a bunch of us were sitting down and talking about it after watching the film. But that's how I feel. And I have a feeling that some other people are going to feel that way as well. But having this whole story about wishing upon a star, of course, that is a big part of Disney. Even if you look at the Disney logo at the start of a film, the wishing star goes over the top and things like that. This is a film to me that is absolutely perfect to come out during Disney's 100th year celebrations. So, and the story is good. Look, this is one of those films where I'm a little bit torn. As someone who has loved Disney's films since I was a kid, I enjoyed this film. Now, I don't know how the new generation is going to go with this movie. Maybe they will sit down and enjoy it. But look, this film reminds me a lot of the first time I sat down and watched Cinderella as a kid, and those classic tales like Snow White, and yeah, like I said, Cinderella. And of course, Cinderella, I have a feeling, has a tie-in with this film. I have a feeling that this is a prequel to one of the characters that we see in Cinderella. Yeah, it's interesting. And I would love to know your thoughts out there, listeners. If you go and see Wish, I would love to know your thoughts on whether you think I'm right. Because it all comes down to where this sits in the Disney timeline. Is this movie set before Cinderella? Is it set after Cinderella? Where does that sit? But to me, I feel, as a Disney lover, that two characters in this go on to become big parts of in other Disney films. So, look, it's well voiced. It looks amazing. It's that old school kind of animation. So again, I don't know how people are going to react to that. But look, I just felt that this was just that old school good versus evil story that so many of us loved when we were watching Disney as kids. I think the younger generation will dig this. I think there's enough in it that even though it is that kind of classic fairy tale story, I think there is enough in it that younger generations will love it. Definitely, if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, even older, and you're a Disney lover, you will absolutely enjoy Wish. So look, gather up the kids, gather up the grandparents, and if your parents, go along and check out Wish on Boxing Day. I think you will really enjoy it. You'll recapture that old school Disney magic. I'm going to give this one 3.5 out of 5.